Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm so thrilled to be sharing today with you. I'm so thrilled to be presenting my good friend Eleanor here. Eleanor is exceedingly amazing at everything she does, but today we're going to be sharing something absolutely incredible. One of my favorite success stories because she's had success after success after success, but she's had it using her personal manifesting formula, and she's had it in the creation code, and we've worked together in a myriad of different ways over many years, and I've seen her truly become very groundbreaking in what she does in her business and just evolve as a beautiful, beautiful, soulful person that I am so fortunate to be connected to and I love dearly. Thank you for being here today, Eleanor.
Thank you, Sherry. I love you too. It's so great to
Oh,
be here.
yes, yes, it is. So just take a moment and tell us all about you.
So I guess the best place to start is I've been on my own spiritual path for decades, and I'm very interested in everything personal development, everything healing, all of the things. And so I've tried all the things over many years, and I'm happy about it, but I'm excited to talk about what has happened inside Sherry's program.
Oh, I love that. I'm so excited. So you're not going to share even a little bit of your business with us? I
Yeah,
mean, tell
so
us like the magic that you are. Like
the
everyone
magic.
needs to know your magic as well.
Yeah, so I've been a healer and a coach for 15 years and probably worked with over 500 women in my own process. And I call myself the love mystic because a mystic is someone who has dedicated their life to connecting with God or source or universe or whatever you want to call it. And the love part is I've struggled so many years to really find love and to be connected to love and to learn about love. So the love mystic part is just my dedication to all things love, whether it's friendship love, relationship love, community. And I've overcome a lot of challenges in that. And so now I help women to connect to that source of love and be themselves in love. And so that's what I do. And that's my life's work.
I love that. And it's so important, right? Like being yourself and knowing yourself so that you can be the one for someone else, right?
Exactly.
I
Yes.
love that. Thank you. So, Eleanor, as you know, but not everyone else knows, you got in on the creation code back in the wee early days of it. You were like a founding member of the first like 50 that came in. What
Mhm.
attracted you initially to the creation code?
Well, I love everything that you do, and I've taken programs from you before, and so it felt like a really powerful next thing that you were doing that seemed different from everything I've done in the past, and it just felt like a way to get really empowered and to be a creator. So that's what I was drawn to.
I love that. And it was a little different, like going down this whole manifesting route. So I know that you went through it, and we have a couple of results to talk about because you've been through it a couple of times.
Yes.
So, for those of you who don't know, the Creation Code has been running for several years now. I want to say 5, kind of ridiculous, kind of something
Hmm.
insane there. But
Yes.
really has evolved into a fully, completely, I want to say it's a transformational program, but it feels so much easier than a transfer. Like when I hear transformational program, I think of like heavy work, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
you feel like going through the creation code is heavy work?
No, it's a very easy process to follow. And I don't mean easy as in it's always feels amazing, but it's something that you can follow that makes sense and it's tangible and it's practical. And there's so many things about it it's so powerful yet easy to follow. So that's how I would describe it at high level. It's something that anyone can follow and get amazing results from.
I love that. I love that. I would agree. I would agree with that completely too. So I think the interesting thing is this started out as I just started teaching the personal manifesting formula, and you got incredible, incredible. I remember you were the first big success story, and my mind was blown because this was a 5-week program.
Mhm.
Round one. Do you want to share with everyone
Yes.
what you manifested in 5 weeks?
Yes. So I manifested $46,000 literally out of nowhere. And I can tell you the story. So I was working through the process and doing the things in the creation code. And I found a piece of paper in my filing folder, which I'd had for, I don't know, over 13 years probably. That was, for some reason, I was carrying it around and I never looked at it. And I kind of assumed it was something else. I was like, okay, this is just some paper on some pension or something. And one day I looked at it and my husband was like, this is from like a pension from your old job, like 13 years ago. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so I called the number on there, and they had been holding this pension for me that I had never claimed from, I don't know what year it was, 2003 maybe. Like, so it was, 10, 12 years later. And within a couple of weeks, I like received the check and got the $46,000. And so it was just like that easy. It was a phone call and I had the money. It was insanely, like, I can't even describe how, well, it's as crazy as it sounds, but it's true.
That's absolutely incredible. But here's like the real, I want to like talk about the real like granular magic here, right? Because anybody could say, well, she was going to get that anyway. She would have found it. You could have thrown that away in all of that time. Like literally things like this happen and people lose those things all the time.
Yeah.
So even in the first round of the creation code, the process existed, but it was a very minute part of it, right? And the process is where you decide what you wanted. And what did you decide that you had wanted in that process?
So it was money. It was, a big amount of money. I can't remember the amount I said, but I was like wanting more financial flow, and I had put down an amount, which I don't remember now, but it was way more than what I put down. Like I just wanted to, get to a point where I'd paid off some debts and, in a better space. But that was like way, way beyond what I had written down. So it was what I
want to say you wrote down
asked
something
for.
like 20,000.
Yeah, probably 20,000 sounds about
like
right.
that.
Yeah.
I know this sounds crazy, but like it sucks. I was like, I don't think it was 30, but I think it was 20 back then.
Yeah, because I just wanted to pay off some debts that I had and to feel more abundant and all the things that people want. And but I had also thought in my head, oh, it's going to come through a certain way, or it's going to be, through clients or through this or that. And it would just literally was a piece of paper in my desk.
So what's so funny about that is we all like to think that it's going to come in a certain way, but when you do your personal manifesting formula, you literally release how it's coming in, even though you know ways it could come in. Did you find that?
Yes. So I've always had some very rigid ideas about what, how I could manifest or what I need to do. And I thought I had to do a lot of work. And so I had to release all of that kind of energy around having to do so much to have something.
I love that. And that is like, that's kind of the gold here, because we're all tied to these, like, I have to do all these things to make it work. And I've always been like, what? Make 200,000 without a sales page? Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm a control freak, maybe much like you, fellow Capricorn.
I'm a control. I'm almost on the cusp, but yes, I have tons of Capricorn energy. Yeah.
Right. I know you were close. I know. But releasing that like way opens you up to, and did you see that spill into your life in different spaces where like you were like, okay, I don't have to be so rigid. I can loosen up or let it just be.
Yeah, and it was all kinds of different changes, like emotionally and mentally and on all the levels, but it showed up as the money at that point. But I had a lot of internal changes also around being more relaxed and more myself. And so that was just the very obvious thing, was the money.
I love that. So aside from the money, which was like incredible to receive, I can't even like, that's just awesome. What really gets me is the fact that you wanted this great big thing of money. And as soon as you focused on you wanted this big thing of money and you did the process and you did your personal manifesting formula, it worked out to be even more money. And these are things like nobody ever contacted you. You had no way of knowing this was out there. But aside from the money, what do you think in just in your first round, or maybe even just now, like what do you think the biggest transformation from knowing your personal manifesting formula or from going through the creation code a handful of times now or a couple times, what do you think your biggest transformation is there?
Feeling empowered, feeling connected to the possibilities, feeling able to actually create my life in a way that I never thought was possible. It's the
And that's
biggest
like
transformation.
every manifestation teacher's dream. We want you to feel empowered and we want you to know you can create your reality. But have you taken a lot of other manifestation courses?
I've taken a lot of, yes, healing courses and empowerment type of courses and everything you can imagine. Like I was saying, I'm pretty much a personal development junkie. And I love doing healing and all the things just for my own enjoyment. But I did really desperately want results from a lot of those programs. And I didn't feel like I would get some small shifts, but I still would feel like a victim. So I guess maybe that's in a nutshell, the biggest transformation is like going from being in that victim energy to a creator. And that's the hugest shift. So I was going through those programs and not seeing the results externally because I was still in this sort of going around in circles in that victimhood mode.
Look, that's pretty common. We've all been there. We all go through that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty huge shift for such a small program. And that's not even advertised in the program. That's not like, but that's something everyone walks away with.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so many shifts. And like when you just follow the process, it's amazing all of the things that start to change within you and then around you and how other people respond to you too.
That's so big. That's so big. Now I know when you did it most recently, like, and you're in it again. So like currently Eleanor is actually engaged in another live round of the creation code. She reached out to me and she's like, I want to do this. I know I want to do this. So we're doing this. So not this round, even though I've already seen some big things behind the scenes, but we're not going to talk about that yet. But on the most recent round you did before this, you had some really big wins. But what stuck out to me the most in that round, I want to say like your wins were huge, but what really stuck out the most to me was the creation code set up in three phases. So the first phase, we calibrate you to the highest level of power. And then the second phase, you do the process. And then the third phase, you figure out your personal manifesting formula. When you were, and I don't know if you remember, but when you were doing the second phase last time, you had to keep redoing it because you kept manifesting everything on it. So I have them choose 3 to 5 things because you can manifest several things at once. And I have them choose 3 to 5 things. And I just remember you coming back with me going, I have to redo my process. I have to redo my process. I was like, what is going on? It's like 10 days into phase 2 and you're like done with the whole course, the whole program, you're done. You're like, I have it.
I was literally checking off. I'm like, oh, okay, I manifested this and then I manifested this. And I was like, wow, I've literally gone through the whole list. And so now I have to, it was almost like I was reaching to figure out what was the next thing I was going to manifest. It was crazy.
That's a really bad problem to have. Like I've manifested so much, I'm running out of things to manifest.
I've never experienced that in my life. Like never. I've always just been kind of like, oh, just on the first thing I was trying to manifest, just like going around in circles.
That's pretty common. That's pretty common because before this system, I don't know like how deep you were in the manifestation world, but it's a lot of intangible and maybe kind of sort of could work for this person, worked for some of these things, but it's all the cookie cutter things that you're supposed to use all the same formulas that everyone else is using for all the same things. It's like, I'm just going to like zap this and I want that and zap it. And
it's very elusive and very, intangible. And where this is not, I love it because it's like this practical thing that you just follow the steps. If you follow everything and really stay present with it and keep going, it works.
And you're absolutely incredible at that. I have seen you stay present and with it because the consistency is built into it. And it's simple. It doesn't take up a lot of your time every day.
No.
No,
No.
I love that. So tell us about what you manifested the second round, all those things that you manifested. I remember there were some big things going on.
Yeah. So the funny thing I just thought of now is that I didn't even know I wanted a couple of things. So I wrote down, okay, we want to move to this area close to the water. This was like my vision, to be closer to the water. And so I was like, okay, we're going to manifest selling the condo at like above asking price, and to make sure that we make the most out of the condo, and then buying a place by the water and having it be below asking. And that's
Which
how
is
I
like a double whammy in itself. Like,
yeah.
first off, okay, so this is right before, I just want to tell everyone, this is right before every real estate, every housing thing went insane crazy.
Mhm.
She got so far above asking. Like now this is, we're having bidding wars over this now, but this was right before all of that happened. But to have a purchase below and a sale above is
Mhm.
literally like double dipping. Like
Yeah,
you were just
that's
like going all
exactly.
out. You're like, I want it all. I'm Eleanor and I'm here for it.
I wanted it to be in our favor both ways. So that's the way I had visualized it. I'm like, I want it to work out in our favor each time. And that was very specifically what I had written down to manifest. And so we did. We sold the condo in 1 week, and it was a massive bidding war, and it was way above asking. And then we found a place in our exact neighborhood that's a block from the river, from the water and the trails, and just the area we wanted to be in. And it was below asking, and nobody else came to look at it. And this is impossible. Like, that's every other place in this area. It's just like, a swarm. Like you can't even get in there unless you have maybe $100,000 over the asking price of anywhere around here. And so
And you got in for less.
we got in for less, and nobody else looked at it. And there's nothing wrong with this place. I was almost, when we were like, I'm like, is something wrong with this place? Because I don't understand why
Did it seem too
nothing's
good to
going
be
on.
true?
Yeah, it seemed too good to be true. And I was just
But
like,
now
I
you've
was
been living
doubting
there
it.
and it's perfectly like
It's
legit.
perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. And it took me a minute to be like, this is what I'm manifesting. Like, this is the result that I'm looking for. But it took me a minute to catch up to that and be like, this is real. This is manifested. And so now we're like, wow.
That's one of the things that happens, is because it seems so unreal. You almost feel like it's
Mhm.
like,
Something's
can
wrong.
I
I get
trust it? Is
suspicious.
it,
Yeah.
yes, like, because it seems so magical, but yet it's tangible things that we're talking about. Now, I mean, spoiler alert, can we share that I think it was around 30 or so that you got over asking price?
Yeah, around 30,000 over asking. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty
And
significant.
yeah. And I think I had even written that number. Now I'm remembering more too,
You had
because
you had told me
I
you
had
wanted
written,
25 over.
yeah, exactly. So
I
that
remember
was
that, and I was like, whoo! Because there was no proof of that in the market. There's no proof. So that's the magical thing about this, is you can ask for something when there's absolutely no logical reason, no proof, or any like, why would this even happen? And I remember I was even like, "Ooh, okay." And
Yeah.
my stance is like, everything is possible, but I was
Yes.
excited for that because I could feel that. I could feel
Mhm.
that in my sacral, like, oh, that's going to be big, you
Yeah.
know?
And it happened. So it was just like, it was amazing and magical, and like everything we asked for, and more. Like, it's still incredible to this day to
I
have
love
that.
it. I love it. And I remember all this was happening. It all happened so quickly because in the process
Mhm.
you had to keep going back and redoing it.
Yeah. And find more things, because I'm like, okay, now what? So I really dug into relationships with my family. So I also added that in. I wanted more
I
harmonious
remember that too.
relationships with my family. And there was a lot of conflict going on. And so I'm like, I'm definitely putting this in my thing. And that manifested. And I won't go into details about my family, but
Hmm.
that's almost like impossible in itself, to be like, wow, this resolved itself, and the conflict resolved itself.
That's amazing. I
Between
think that's something we can all relate to. And that's not
Mhm.
something that most manifestation teachers will tell you to manifest, because they're like, oh, go heal your relationships, go work on your relationship,
Mm,
go fix your stuff, go fix what you did wrong here, go learn
mhm.
how to communicate, go learn conflict resolution, right?
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I just put that as my, that was my manifesting, is to have the more harmonious relationship and to have these conflicts resolve themselves. And I was like, I don't care how they resolve themselves. I just want them to be harmonious. And it did. And it's always been easy. Like, it sounds, I don't know, funny to say, but they resolve themselves in a way that's so simple and easy. And like, wow, that's just effortless.
It's something that you couldn't have made happen on your
No.
own that easily.
And I couldn't have thought of like how the things would get resolved.
That's amazing. And I know like family is one of the things I don't know anyone who actually I do know one person who doesn't struggle with anything with family, and that's my husband. But I mean, I just don't know anyone who doesn't struggle. I married into a perfect family. It's very peculiar, and I just sit
Oh
there and
wow.
go, okay, yeah, and it's great. But like, I don't know anyone who really doesn't have us, like some kind
Mhm.
of family struggle or conflict or something like that. So that's amazing. I love that. And that I I think that's really what makes this different is there's nothing you can't use it for, and everything can happen inside of 30 days for the most part.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you've gone through this enough times, you know how to work the system. Do you find that it gets accelerated and you can like get things quickly?
Yes, it happens more easily. It's easy to get into that process again. And I also find that extra things will happen now, like that I didn't plan, or, it's like, I don't know what you would describe that as, but it's
Like
like
synchronicities and extra
yeah,
manifestations.
more than I had asked for.
Yeah, no, I love that. And that's kind of what happens because this puts you in a flow state of your ultimate power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my deepest desires of what I want to create.
And that's beautiful because so many of us go for so long thinking we can't have it.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
also,
it's so long. We'll sit there and we'll deeply desire something and thinking that it's not for us.
and I learned how to ask for not just like the bare minimum. That's the other thing. It's like really go for I don't think I would have asked for so many things or put down so many things I wanted to manifest. That was another problem, is like I didn't even know how to really ask or, you know, tap into those desires in a way, because I thought, oh, this is impossible for me. It's not going to work for me or whatever. So that also changed.
Ouch. Right? That
Yeah.
that and but I don't think you're alone there. I don't think you're alone. I think we've all had those things like we can't have it. It's not for me. It's maybe it's for them. And
Mhm.
we project an excuse as to why they can have it and we can't have it. And we justify why they're good enough and we're not. But that's kind of the thing that I wanted to be different about this. In the whole first phase, we align people to their power through the calibration. And there's a whole process of like, standards and calibration and getting from where you are into a space of power that doesn't include going into your past, going into healing, going into like all the things you ever did wrong, because nothing in your past is connected to your future. Nothing that you want in the past is in your future. I mean, you could just
Mhm.
recreate the past all day long. But I find that when people are doing this, everything they want is in the future, right? Like we all want a bigger house, more money, somebody who loves us, a greater car, a better vacation. And it's not that I want to bypass the healing or do anything like that. If that is needed, that is needed. But there's a space that I think people were neglecting that they could just align to their greater power. And that's really what the calibration does. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because the calibration is very, very powerful. I mean, if I were to describe it, it's like that feeling of being powerful, of feeling really lit up and almost like stepping into my highest potential in an energetic sense. So the feelings around it are like afterwards, I just feel so lit up and so powerful and so just like anything's possible and feel more joyful. So these are all the feelings that I get from the calibration itself. And I find a lot of my emotional things that I maybe been struggling with, I was able to let go of, because I'm like you said, up at a higher level, and it's all these things drop off emotionally. And so I have let go of a lot of things. So I feel like healing has happened for me, but it's because I've gone up to where you can let all that stuff go
Yes,
from
it's
the
an easier
calibration.
path to healing because you're stepping more into your truth, right?
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
that. That's beautiful. It's so powerful.
It's the most powerful thing, because like I've taken other things. I've done a lot of healing programs or whatever you want to call them. And I would have, I would feel better for a time, but it was like all of those same struggles seem to still be there. Whereas this is just amazing and the most powerful thing I've done in my life when it comes to creating, healing, manifesting.
That's a pretty bold statement right there. I'm just gonna stay with that for a minute.
I'll stick with that. It's the truth. I mean,
No,
I
I
don't say
appreciate it.
I
And
don't
that was the
say
whole point
things
of
that
it.
aren't true. Yeah, I don't bother with like exaggerating or anything like that. So anyone who knows me knows that I just speak my straight truth, and there's no point in exaggerating. This is my truth. This is my experience of what has happened for me with your program. And
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Nobody would ever accuse you of adding flowery, exaggerative, like you're
yeah,
very pragmatic, straightforward.
yeah,
Here's the facts. Like this is
yeah,
just how it is. Like
yeah, exactly.
I love that. So would you say that like do you find yourself needing to go to healers and things like that? Or do you just find yourself going back to the calibrations and back to the phase one? And does it grow with you? Does this grow with you? Because I think that's a problem everyone has when they're manifesting is we're always having to go look for like, okay, this worked until now. I hit the ceiling.
Mhm.
Now I have to go find a new method, a new way to do this. I have to go heal something, go learn something, go mindset something. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts there?
Yeah, it's something you can always go back to, and it's there for you. It's like that the formula, the process is there, and you can always tap into it. And each time I do that, I can feel my energy shifting again, and my power expanding. And so I do, as we all sometimes will drop off doing something, and then I remember, oh yeah, I can go back to this. And you just pick up where you left off. And it's something that you can use for, well, like
I mean,
forever,
you've
as long as you
been
want.
using it for years now.
Yeah. Yeah, for years. Exactly. It's always there.
And it keeps working because I found that so many other manifestation things didn't continue to work because you
Mhm.
outgrew them or you hit a ceiling. They weren't designed in a way that there was constant space for expansion.
Yeah. They're adjustable to your life and expand with you. Yeah.
Yeah. And because you're working with your personal manifesting formula, that changes for every desire you have.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's
So
only
it's,
good for you. So like you couldn't give this to someone else and they'd be like, hey, just go manifest a house under and another house over. And it just wouldn't work because when we go through the process, and I had to help you with that a little bit. And that's one of the
Mhm.
things that's so good about going through the program with me is that, I'm right there for you. Do you feel like I'm hands-on enough? Do you feel like you would recommend me there? Is there something that I do that makes this?
Yes, you're extremely hands-on. Like you're very present in any iteration of this, the live version or whatever. You're always there. um it feels like anytime you have a question, anytime you have anything about the program, you're there, and you put all of your attention and energy into helping me like expand or whatever it is I need at that time. You're 100% there. So you're not anyone I would ever say that drops off, like the program starts and then it's like, where's the facilitator? It's like, no, you're right in there with
I love that.
everyone. And that's what I would say is you're very, very dedicated to what you do, and take a go above and beyond with your attention and your intentions for the people in your program.
Thank you. Thank you. And you've seen other people get great results because of that too.
Yes, absolutely. Everyone is fully taken care of and supported in every step of the way.
Yeah, I really like to create an inclusive community and one where we all support each other. And that was just going rampant. I mean, it was really beautiful. I was so proud of that. I love that. So
Yeah.
with creation code, with the personal manifesting formula, because this is so different than everything out there, what would you say to somebody who is interested in it, but they're like, oh, I won't be able to figure it out, or maybe it's not for me, or it won't work for me, or it won't work for business, or well, like whatever, people have so many reasons why something won't work. What would you say to that person to let them know that this will work for them?
I would say if you're drawn to this and you're interested, it's because you probably feel that sense that even if nothing else has worked, it doesn't mean this is not going to work. And this is actually something you can be all of you. You can be yourself. You can just be more of yourself, and give it a try. Like, because you're going to be fully supported. It works. It also helps with any of those kind of doubts and feelings like, oh, it's not going to work for me. So I would say to just kind of set that aside and see how you really feel, because those types of doubts are going to be taken care of as well in the program.
I think that's so amazing because like I was
Mm.
like, I don't know. I was kind of in wonder and a little bit of doubt, like, are you really gonna get this under and over? And I bet you were too, were you not?
Oh yeah, I had doubts. I always have, you know, the mindset and those issues that people have, but I just kept going. So it's like you can lean into the process even if you have doubts and still do it, even if you feel crappy or whatever, it still works. And that's the thing, is like it goes beyond all of that.
I love that because every manifestation teacher is like, you have to believe. And I'm like, doesn't matter if you believe.
No,
Like it literally doesn't matter if you believe. You have doubts, that's fine. It doesn't matter. And that's so hard for people to grasp.
that's what I love. It's like, even there's no sort of, in that industry or whatever you want to call it, manifestation thing. It's like people have a lot of shaming around, like, all good vibes only, and feel, believe, and you have to get excited and you have to ramp up, and all of those things that I felt were sometimes impossible to do. You don't have to do any of that. You just show up as yourself, and you work the process, and you don't have to do things that feel really, I mean, that might feel uncomfortable, but nothing that is really rigid. Like I was saying, I actually went away from being rigid and more in the flow and tapping into my own power, as opposed to what everyone else teaches out there, where it's like you have to feel this way, you have to do it this way, you have to be, XYZ, and there's none of that.
I love that. That's so powerful. And that's exactly what I wanted because like I can't follow a fucking rule to save my life. Like, you want me to do it that way? Okay, I'm gonna go do it this way. Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I mean, I don't want to say it's for the rebels, but it's probably for people that are rule breakers.
Yeah.
Might have a little of that.
Exactly. They want to be themselves and unique, and you can do that.
I love that. Thank you so much. So, would you recommend me? What would you say to somebody who wasn't sure about me? Because I'm not for everyone. I'm very like I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't, I'm very straightforward. I'm going to tell you how it is, and that's not quite the like lovey-dovey feely thing that everyone gets from the spiritual woo-woo manifestation teachers, which obviously I'm not so far down the rabbit hole that I've lost touch, but like what would you say to someone who's not sure about me or if this is like legit or if I'm valid?
You hold people to their truth. And if someone wants to actually hear what they need to hear in a compassionate way, I always say compassion is not always, like you said, that lovey-dovey thing. But compassion is the highest level of truth that someone can hear and still feel held. And that's what you do. So if you want to hear honest truth that that person actually needs to get to the next level, you're going to do it. And I feel like you're one of the bravest people I know, because so many other teachers out there, they kind of bulk at like, oh, I don't really want to say this because this is too much, or this is whatever it is. You say it because you know that that person needs to hear it. And it's a very powerful way to be and hold people in your program. So if yeah, if you're ready to be brave, then you can be with you, who is also brave.
And even if you're not ready to be brave, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't bite. But
No.
thank you for that. Thank you. And I will say, I actually don't ever want to say the things that I'm forced to say and have to say, but like my truth compels me, my
Mhm.
integrity, that these people have trusted me to help them have their desires into their lives. And you've seen this. Some of the things that I've had to say, I'm like, oh, I don't want to, like, oh, it's
Mhm.
heartbreaking, but it's the truth. And the
Yeah.
sooner that we can examine the truth, meet the truth, and be with the truth, the sooner we can create our desires.
And you do it all with love. So it's not anything that is ultimately scary because the person can feel, I mean, I can feel it's out of love and it's never anything that I can't handle.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. That's wonderful. And would you recommend the creation code to anyone interested in taking control of their reality, getting better results in business, getting anything that, well, like, what would you recommend it?
I would 100% recommend Creation Code for anyone who feels like they are ready to step into their power and create and to move like I did from that maybe feeling of victimhood or being in that space where they don't feel like they can create anything to being the creator and manifesting like any type of manifestation anywhere you are in your life. I recommend this program.
Thank you. Manifesting on demand.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Manifesting on demand that's predictable and consistent, because that's the one thing manifesting hasn't been made. So would you say it is manifesting on demand that's predictable and consistent?
Yes, and it's something you can always turn to and to use over time
I love
for
it.
sure.
Amazing. I think we covered it all. Any last words?
I would say if you even have a little bit of an inkling to take this program, to do it, to just dive in, you absolutely will not regret it.
Good. And where do you see your life going from here? Like,
I'm gonna keep manifesting.
you might have to work on coming up with new things to manifest. So there's
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Just my next level of manifesting and just enjoying what I've created in my life, which is absolutely amazing. And I mean, it's more than I ever could have imagined or pictured.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Eleanor. It has been
Thank
amazing.
you.
I appreciate hearing your story and you taking the time to help so many people, because so many people don't know. And there's so many manifestation teachers out there that are just teaching regurgitated messages and regurgitated things. This is completely unique and different to anything out there. So I
Thank you,
appreciate you taking
Sherry.
the time to share your stories with us.
Thank you.
Awesome. And if you're interested in Eleanor, obviously you can always find her online. You can find her at her website and at her name, Eleanor McDonald. She's on all social media and she's just brilliant at what she does. We are so happy
Thank you.
to be here today.